Imagine a world where your greatest power lies not in what you reveal, but in what you keep hidden. A world where your success, your influence, and your very destiny are shaped by the careful curation of your personal information. It isn't just imagination, my friends. This is the reality we live in today. In a time where oversharing has become the norm, where people broadcast their every thought, every meal, and every moment of their lives, I'm here to tell you something revolutionary. Don't let people know too much about you. Now, you might be thinking, but isn't openness and transparency the key to building relationships? Isn't vulnerability the pathway to connection? And yes, there's truth in that, but there's also profound power in mystery, in selective sharing, in maintaining an air of intrigue that keeps people fascinated and engaged with you. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time you were truly captivated by someone? Chances are it wasn't the person who told you their entire life story within 5 minutes of meeting them. No, it was likely someone who revealed themselves slowly, carefully, like the peeling back of layers on an onion. Each revelation was a gift, each shared secret a treasure. This, my friends, is the art of strategic privacy. It's not about being secretive or deceitful. It's about understanding that information is currency in our modern world. And you need to be a wise investor of that currency. Let me break it down for you. One, protection from exploitation. In this world, there are always those who seek to take advantage of others. The more they know about you, the more ammunition they have. Your fears, your weaknesses, your past mistakes, these can all be weaponized against you if they fall into the wrong hands. By keeping certain aspects of your life private. You're not being paranoid. You're being prudent. You're creating a shield that protects you from those who might seek to manipulate or exploit you. Two, maintaining professional boundaries. In the workplace, oversharing can be particularly dangerous. Your colleagues don't need to know about your weekend exploits or your family drama. By maintaining a level of privacy, you create a professional persona that commands. Think about the most successful leaders you know. Do they wear their hearts on their sleeves? Do they tell everyone everything about themselves? No. They maintain an air of mystery, of quiet confidence. They share what's necessary and keep the rest to themselves. Three, preserving your competitive edge in business, in relationships, in life. Information is power. When you share everything about yourself, you're giving away your power freely. You're letting others see your playbook, understand your strategies, and anticipate your moves. But when you keep certain things to yourself, you maintain an edge. You become unpredictable, intriguing. People can't pigeonhole you or take you for granted because they don't know everything about you. Four, cultivating curiosity. Human beings are naturally curious creatures. We're drawn to mysteries, to the unknown. When you don't reveal everything about yourself, you become that mystery. You become someone people want to know more about. This isn't about playing games or being manipulative. It's about understanding human psychology and using it to your advantage. By revealing yourself slowly, carefully, you keep people engaged and interested. Five, maintaining your sense of self. In a world where everyone seems to be living their lives for an audience, privacy allows you to live for yourself. It gives you space to grow, to make mistakes, to evolve without constant scrutiny or judgment. When you share everything, you invite everyone's opinion on every aspect of your life. But when you keep things private, you maintain control over your narrative. You get to decide what parts of yourself to share and when. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but what about authenticity? What about being true to ourselves? And that's a valid concern. But here's the truth. Being authentic doesn't mean sharing everything. It means being genuine in what you do choose to share. Think of it like this. Given the most beautiful painting as a frame, that frame doesn't diminish the painting's beauty or authenticity. Instead, it focuses our attention. It highlights what's most important. Your privacy is that frame. It doesn't hide who you are. It showcases your best self. Let me give you an example. Back in my day, I knew a young man who was brilliant, hardworking, and ambitious. He had dreams of becoming a successful entrepreneur. But he had a habit of sharing every idea, every plan, every setback with anyone who would listen. At first, people were interested. They'd give him advice, offer support. But as time went on, something changed. His constant sharing began to work against him. People started to see him as all talk and no action. They'd heard so many of his ideas that never came to fruition that they stopped taking him seriously. Now imagine if this young man had taken a different approach. What if, instead of sharing every idea, he'd kept most of them to himself, working on them in private? What if, instead of broadcasting every setback, he'd quietly persevered, only sharing his successes once they were achieved? The outcome would have been dramatically different. People would have seen him as someone who makes things happen, not just someone who talks about making things happen. His successes would have seemed more impressive because people wouldn't have seen all the failures that led to them. This is the power of privacy. It's not about deceiving people or hiding who you are. It's about controlling your narrative, about presenting your best self to the world. Now, some of you might be wondering, but how do I know what to share and what to keep private? That's an excellent question, and it brings us to an important point. Strategic sharing. Strategic sharing is the art of knowing what to reveal, when to reveal it, and to whom. It's about understanding that different people in your life should have different levels of access to your personal information. Think of your life like a house. You have different rooms for different purposes, and not everyone gets access to every room. Your living room might be open to casual acquaintances, your kitchen to close friends, your bedroom only to your most intimate relations. Your personal information should be treated the same way. Here are some guidelines for strategic sharing. Know your audience. Before you share anything, consider who you're sharing it with. Is this person a close friend, a casual acquaintance, a colleague, or a potential business partner? The nature of your relationship should dictate what you share. 2, consider the context. Type matters. What's appropriate to share at a casual dinner party might not be appropriate in a professional setting. Always be aware of your environment and adjust accordingly. 3, evaluate the potential impact. How could this information be used? Could it potentially harm me or someone else? Could it be misunderstood or taken out of context? If there's a risk, it might be better to keep it to yourself. 4, share gradually. Don't rush to tell people everything about yourself. Allow relationships to develop naturally. As trust builds, you can slowly reveal more about yourself. 5, maintain some mystery. Always keep a part of yourself private. This isn't about being secretive. It's about maintaining an air of intrigue that keeps people interested and engaged. Remember, my friends, in a world where information is constantly being bought and sold, your personal details are your most valuable currency. Don't give them away freely. Invest them wisely. Now, I want to address something important. Some of you might be thinking, but isn't this approach manipulative? Isn't it better to be open and honest? This isn't about manipulation or dishonesty. It's about wisdom. It's about understanding that not everyone deserves equal access to your life, your thoughts, your dreams. It's about recognizing that privacy is not just a right, but a tool for success. Think about the most successful people you know. The leaders, the innovators, the game changers. Do they share every detail of their lives with the world? Do they broadcast their every thought, their every plan? No. They understand the power of privacy. They know that their ideas are valuable, and they protect them fiercely until they're ready to be revealed. They know that their personal lives are sacred, and they guard them carefully. They know that mystery creates intrigue, and intrigue creates opportunity. But here's the key. They're not being dishonest. They're not pretending to be someone they're not. They're simply choosing what parts of themselves to share with the world and when. This is the essence of personal branding. It's about curating your public image in a way that aligns with your goals and values. It's about presenting the best version of yourself to the world while keeping your core self protected and nurtured and private. Now, I want you to imagine for a moment that you're a book. A beautiful, complex, fascinating book filled with incredible stories, profound wisdom, and valuable information. Would you leave that book lying open on a public bench, available for anyone to read, to dog-ear the pages, to scribble in the margins? You would protect that book. You keep it safe, sharing it only with those who have earned the right to read it. You carefully choose which passages to read aloud, which chapters to share. That's exactly how you should treat your personal information. But remember, this isn't about building walls. It's about building bridges. The selective bridges to the right people at the right time. It's about creating connections that are meaningful and purposeful rather than shallow and indiscriminate. Let me share another example with you. I once knew a woman who was incredibly talented in her field. She had ideas that could revolutionize her industry, but she had a habit of sharing these ideas freely with anyone who would listen. At first, she thought this openness would lead to opportunities. She believed that by sharing her ideas, she'd attract collaborators, investors, supporters, but that's not what happened. Instead, she found her ideas being implemented by others. She'd shared a concept in a casual conversation, only to see it appear months later as someone else's innovative new product. She was giving away her most valuable asset, her intellectual property. But when she finally realized what was happening, she changed her approach. She became more selective about what she shared and with whom. She protected her ideas, developing them in private before revealing them to the world. The result, her career skyrocketed. By maintaining an air of mystery, by carefully controlling the flow of information about her work, she created a buzz around herself. People became intrigued, eager to know what she was working on next. Investors sought her out, excited by the possibility of being part of her next big reveal. This, my friends, is the power of privacy in action. It's not about being secretive or mistrustful. It's about understanding the value of your personal information and treating it with the respect it deserves. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be grappling with. In our modern world, there's immense pressure to share every aspect of our lives. We're told that constant connectivity is the key to success, that transparency is the hallmark of authenticity. That I'm here to tell you that this mindset is not just wrong, it's dangerous. It's a trap that can leave you vulnerable, exposed, and ultimately less successful than you could be. Think about it this way. When you're constantly sharing every detail of your life, you're giving away your power. You're allowing others to form opinions, make judgments, and create narratives about you based on incomplete information. You're inviting criticism and scrutiny into areas of your life that should be sacred and personal. Moreover, you're diluting your impact. When people know everything about you, when they have constant access to your thoughts and activities, you become commonplace. You lose the ability to surprise, to intrigue, to command attention when it really matters. But when you maintain a level of privacy, when you carefully curate what you share and with whom you retain your power, you maintain control over your narrative. You create an air of mystery that draws people in, that makes them lean forward when you speak, that gives weight to your words and actions. This doesn't mean you should be cold or distant. It doesn't mean you can't form deep, meaningful connections with others. It simply means being intentional about what you share. Understanding that not everyone deserves equal access to your inner world. Think of it, a VIP area in a club. Not everyone gets in, and that's what makes it special. Your personal information, your deepest thoughts, your grandest ambitions, these are your VIP area. Be selective about who you let in. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but what about building trust? Don't we need to be open to build strong relationships? And you're right, to a point. Trust is indeed built on openness and vulnerability. But here's the key. That openness should be earned, not given away freely to everyone you meet. True intimacy, true connection comes from the gradual revealing of ourselves to another person. It's a dance of revelation and discovery, each step bringing you closer together. When you share everything up front, you rob yourself and others of this beautiful. Moreover, by maintaining some privacy, you create space for growth and self-reflection. When every thought and action is immediately shared with the world, you lose the opportunity to process, to learn, to evolve in private. You become so focused on presenting a perfect image to the world that you forget to do the inner work that really matters. Remember, my friends, you're not a reality TV show. Your life is not meant to be a 24/7 broadcast for the world's entertainment. You are a complex, multifaceted individual with the right to privacy, to solitude, to quiet moments of reflection and growth. So how do you strike the right balance? How do you remain open and authentic while still maintaining a healthy level of privacy? Here are some strategies. One, be intentional about what you share. There's something about yours. Who benefits from this information? Is this the right time and place? Make sharing a conscious choice, not a reflex. Two, create boundaries and decide what areas of your life are off limits for public consumption. Maybe it's your family life, your spiritual practices, or your creative process. Whatever it is, establish clear boundaries and stick to them. Three, cultivate inner confidence. When you're secure in who you are, you don't need constant external validation. Focus on building your self-esteem from within rather than seeking it from others' reactions to your life. Four, practice discretion. Not every thought needs to be expressed. Not every emotion needs to be displayed. Not every experience needs to be shared. Learn the art of discretion, of knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Five, value privacy. Recognize that your privacy is a precious commodity. In a world where personal data is constantly being harvested and exploited, your ability to keep certain things to yourself is a superpower. Don't give it up lightly. Six, instead of constantly thinking about how to present your life to others, focus on actually living it. Be present in your experiences. Enjoy moments for what they are, not for how they'll be perceived by others. Seven, choose quality over quantity. In your relationships, prioritize depth over breadth. It's better to have a few close friends who truly know and understand you than a vast network of superficial connections. Remember, my friends, privacy is not about hiding. It's not about being fake or inauthentic. It's about respecting yourself enough to curate what you share with the world. It's about understanding that you are valuable, that your thoughts, your experiences, your very essence is precious and should be treated as such. In a world that constantly demands more openness, more sharing, more exposure, choosing privacy is a radical act. It's a declaration that you are more than what you choose to reveal, that there are depths to you that not everyone gets to see. This choice, this commitment to privacy will serve you well in all areas of your life. In your career, it will make you more intriguing, more respected. In your relationships, it will create deeper, more meaningful connections. In your personal growth, it will give you the space to evolve and transform without constant scrutiny. So I challenge you today, take a step back. Evaluate what you're sharing and why. Consider what parts of yourself you want to keep sacred, to protect, to nurture in private. Think about how you can create an air of mystery around yourself, how you can become someone people want to know more about. But here's the truth. The less people know about you, the more they want to know. The more selective you are with your personal information, the more valuable it becomes. The more you respect your own privacy, the more others will respect you. You are not an open book to be read by anyone who picks you up. You are a rare, valuable, limited edition. And access to your pages should be a privilege, not a right. So go forth, my friends, and embrace the power of privacy. Guard your personal information like the treasure it is. Be selective about what you reveal and to whom. Create an air of intrigue around yourself. Become someone people want to know more about. Someone whose words carry weight because they're not constantly being thrown around. Remember, in a world where everyone is shouting for attention, sometimes the most powerful move is to speak softly or not at all. Let your actions speak louder than your words. Let your success be your noise. Let your growth be a story. Don't let people know too much about you. Instead, let them wonder. Let them be curious. Let them be intrigued. When you maintain an air of mystery, you create a magnetic pull that draws people in. They'll want to know more to understand the depths of who you are. But here's the key. You control the narrative. Think about the most fascinating people you've ever met. Chances are, they didn't reveal everything about themselves right away. They shared bits and pieces, carefully curated glimpses into their selective sharing is what kept you engaged. What made you want to know more? Now, I'm not advocating for being secretive or dishonest. Far from it. What I'm suggesting is a thoughtful approach to personal disclosure. It's about an understanding that not everyone deserves equal access to your inner world. Imagine you're an artist and your life is your masterpiece. Would you invite everyone into your studio while you're still creating? Of course not. You'd work in private, perfecting your craft, only revealing your work when it's ready. Treat your personal information the same way. In our hyper-connected world, we're often pressured to share every detail of our lives. But remember, constant exposure can lead to overexposure. When you share everything, you leave nothing to the imagination. You rob others of the joy of discovering who you are. And moreover, oversharing can make you vulnerable. In the wrong hands, personal information can be used against you. It can be misinterpreted, taken out of context, or used to pigeonhole you into a particular image or role. By keeping certain aspects of yourself private, you maintain control over your personal narrative. You get to decide how you want to be perceived, what parts of yourself you want to highlight, and what parts you want to keep sacred. This approach isn't just about personal relationships. It's equally important in professional settings. In the workplace, maintaining a level of privacy can actually enhance your professional image. It allows you to present a polished, focused persona that commands respect. Think about the most successful leaders you know. Do they wear their hearts on their sleeves? Do they share every detail of their personal lives with their colleagues? Rarely. They understand the power of selective sharing, of maintaining a professional boundary that enhances their authority and influence. But how do you strike the right balance? How do you remain authentic and build genuine connections while still maintaining a healthy level of privacy? Here are some strategies to consider. Be intentional about what you share. But before you disclose something, ask yourself, why am I sharing this? Is it necessary? Is it beneficial? Make sharing a conscious choice, not a practice active listening. Often, we share too much because we're trying to fill silence or relate to others. Instead, focus on listening. You'll learn more about others, and they'll appreciate your attentiveness. Master the art of deflection. When asked personal questions you're not comfortable answering, learn to gracefully change the subject or give a general answer without revealing specifics. Cultivate an air of mystery. Don't be afraid to let people wonder about you. A little mystery can be intriguing and attractive, both personally and professionally. Focus on quality over quantity in your relationships. It's better to have a few deep, meaningful connections where you can be your true self than a wide network of superficial relationships. Be present in the moment. Instead of constantly thinking about how to present yourself to others, focus on genuinely experiencing life. This authentic engagement will naturally draw people to you. Respect others' privacy. When you show respect for others' boundaries, they're more likely to respect yours. Remember, privacy isn't about building walls. It's about creating healthy boundaries that allow you to control your own narrative and protect your peace of mind. It's about understanding that you don't owe anyone an explanation for a world that often feels like it's constantly demanding more transparency, more sharing, more exposure. Choosing privacy can be a radical act of self-care and self-respect. It's a way of saying, I value myself and my experiences enough to be selective about who I share them with. This approach to personal information can have profound effects on your life. When you're not constantly seeking validation or approval from others, you become more self-reliant. You learn to trust your own judgment, to be comfortable with your decisions without needing external affirmation. Moreover, by keeping certain aspects of your life private, you create space for personal growth and self-reflection. When every thought and action isn't immediately broadcasted to the world, you have the freedom to explore, to make mistakes, to learn and evolve without constant scrutiny. This doesn't mean you should never be vulnerable or open with others. Vulnerability, when shared with the right people at the right time, can lead to deep and meaningful connections. The key is to be discerning about when, how, think of your personal information as a valuable resource. Just as you wouldn't frivolously spend money or waste precious materials, don't squander your personal details. Invest them wisely in relationships and situations that truly matter to you. In your professional life, this approach can be particularly powerful. When you're selective about what you share, your words carry more weight. People pay attention when you speak because they know you don't waste words on trivial matters. Your opinions and ideas become more valuable because they're not constantly being thrown around. Additionally, maintaining privacy can protect you from unnecessary drama and conflict. When people don't know everything about you, they have less ammunition to use against you. You're less likely to become embroiled in office politics or personal disputes because you've created a buffer zone around yourself. But perhaps most importantly, maintaining privacy allows you to stay true to yourself. When you're not constantly performing for an audience or seeking approval, you can focus on what truly matters to you. You can pursue your passions, develop your skills, and work towards your goals without the noise of others' opinions or expectations. This doesn't mean you should be cold or distant. You can still be warm, friendly, and engaging without revealing everything about yourself. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're open enough to form genuine connections, but private enough to maintain your sense of self. Albert consider the analogy of a book once again. A great book doesn't reveal all its secrets in the first chapter. It draws you in slowly, revealing its depths page by page, chapter by chapter. Let people be excited to turn the page to discover more about you over time. In practice, this might mean being more thoughtful about what you post online. It might mean choosing not to share every achievement or challenge you face. It might mean having a ready response for personal questions that you'd rather not ask. Remember, you're not obligated to satisfy everyone's curiosity about your life. It's okay to keep some things to yourself. It's okay to have parts of your life that are just for you or for a select few who have earned your trust. As you navigate this approach, you might find that some people are uncomfortable with your boundaries. They might push for more information or accuse you of being secretive. Stand firm. Your privacy is your right, and you don't need to justify it to anyone. In time, you'll likely notice a shift in your relationships. The people who truly value you will respect your boundaries. They'll appreciate the trust you show when you do choose to share something personal. And they'll be more likely to reciprocate, creating deeper, more meaningful connections. You might also notice a change in how you see yourself. When you're not constantly seeking external validation, you become more self-assured. You learn to trust your own judgment, to be comfortable in your own skin. You become less reactive to others' opinions and more centered in your own values and beliefs. This inner confidence is magnetic. It draws people to you in a way that oversharing never could. People are attracted to those who are comfortable with themselves, who don't need to prove anything to anyone. So as you go forward, remember, your life is your own. Your experiences, your thoughts, your feelings, that they belong to you. Share them judiciously with those who have earned the right to know the real you. Let others wonder, let them be curious. Maintain that air of mystery that makes you uniquely you. Don't let people know too much about you. Instead, let them discover you slowly and surely, like a beautiful sunrise that reveals its colors gradually, leaving everyone in awe of its full glory. Be that mystery. Be that person who leaves others wanting to know more, always intrigued, always fascinated. In doing so, you'll not only protect your peace and maintain your sense of self, but you'll also become a person of depth and substance. A person who is known not for what they share, but for who they are at their core. And that, my friends, is true authenticity.